Hey, ladies, welcome to another self-love conversation. And tonight we have a doctor in the house, y'all. And I am so excited that she is here because we are going to talk about your children. Now, Dr. Shellie Hipsky, she is the CEO of Inspiring Lives International. She is the executive director of the Global Sisterhood. She empowers women. She is the editor-in-chief of Inspiring Lives magazine. She has a doctorate degree in education, and she is going to tell us the prescription for having a happy and healthy child. Now, Dr. Shelley, I'm ready for this conversation because I really want to know how you can achieve this. Now, this is part of your 15th book, is that correct?
Correct. Yes. And this is my 15th book, but it is Dr. Daniela's first. Dr. Daniela took my Empower You masterclass, and she
Okay.
is one of the world's top pediatricians. And when she was taking my class, we determined that she wanted to write this book to get those questions answered for parents around the world. So we set out on a journey and came up with the top 113 questions that were
Oh,
being
wow.
asked in her pediatric office there in New York City, and we hit the nail on the head. Like, I'm so proud of this book, and it's launching here on June 1st on International Children's Day. So it's very exciting
Oh,
time.
that's amazing. And I love the title of the book because, every parent wants to have a happy child, right? Wants to have
Yeah,
a healthy child, right? And
yeah,
and and sometimes that is hard to achieve where some of the parents have their own struggles and everything, right? With
totally.
your background, I know it's in education, and I know that now you're empowering women, but you used to deal with children, right?
I did. So I was a special education teacher for many years, and then I was an assistant principal at a school for kids with emotional and behavioral needs. So these were
Mm,
200 kiddos that were kindergarten to high school, to 12th grade, that were all not able to be in the regular school district because their emotional needs were so strong. I mean, they
right.
they they were in very many ways looked at as sort of damage to society by
Yeah.
society. And I took them under my wing and loved on them. And then I went on, and for a decade I was a professor at Robert Morris University, and I taught my undergrads and my master's degree students, my doctoral degree students to go on and lead the next generation of kiddos in the schools. So I have a huge heart and love for children, for helping kids that are either on the autism spectrum, or they've got other issues going on. And then I work with the moms now all the time, day in and day
Yeah.
out, around the world. And a lot of it comes down to the self-love that you're looking at with the I'm Loving Me and
Yeah.
the Girls Leap project. So I'm just excited to be here and to find out about what you're doing and what we're doing, and see how we can make it all come together.
Yeah, I'm excited too because we talk about those informative years. That's basically where we start with everything when it comes to like self-love and building a foundation. And being a young kid, that is where you are looking at your parents and everything is like your mind is open and you're just swallowing up everything. How do you start to put happiness in your child in those informative years where you're just trying to be a parent, especially if you're a new parent?
Absolutely. And it's difficult. It's not easy for everyone. And sometimes, you're going through stuff as a mom or a father, or that is it's affecting you, and the kids are picking up on it sometimes. And
Yeah.
I guess for those people that are going through those hard times, I just want them to know that it's going to be okay. Like, you're going to make it through those times. Your kids are going to be a heck of a lot more resilient than you would have thought.
Mhm.
I went through a divorce when my kids were 3 years old and 5 years old, and I thought it was going to be like the end, like, of who they were going to be. Like, it was like, this
Yeah.
is going to affect them for the rest of their lives. And
Yeah.
but then once I moved on with my life and I moved on with my goals and my kids could see me doing that as a single mom, they were able to really kind of wrap their arms and their heads around seeing a mother who is a survivor and a thriver. So
Right.
even when you see things are going wrong, sometimes those things that are going wrong are really going right for them in those formative years because they're seeing it from their children's perspective. And sometimes they're seeing that the end result and not necessarily being like, oh, you get the mom guilt, right? Like we're like, oh my God, start the life. It's
Right,
not just take a deep breath,
right.
do
So
your
what's
homework, read the books, and talk with other moms that are going through things too.
So what is considered to be like a happy child? Is it like a child with no problems? It is a child that's well balanced? Is it a child that, you know, has a lot of exposure, or is it just a multitude of things? Or is the happiness described by what the family dynamic is and what they put together?
You know, I think that a happy child is not always a happy child. I mean, like I think that like I mean, the kids cry, kids have meltdowns, kids go through stuff. But if they don't, then are they really happy? Like,
Happy,
I mean, we
right?
look at like a happy child on Instagram and a happy mom on Instagram, and they're
Yeah,
like, yeah, like life
yeah,
is perfect.
yeah,
But are they really? Like, so I mean, I think to be happy means to be able to have that resiliency and to be able
yeah,
to pick yourself back up again, or to be able to sometimes kiddos and moms need to like go through some therapy to work some of the things out so that they can get
hmm,
more to the happy thing. And I've worked with so many kids that, when I was the assistant principal of that school for emotional behavioral needs, that were bipolar, that had, these real chemical imbalances that to the outside eye, they weren't always happy. But if you are laying that foundation for them to have that resiliency, for them to
right,
have those tools in their toolbox for coping mechanisms and coping skills so that
yeah,
they aren't always down in the dark times, because there's going
yeah,
to be dark times. This is life. This is real life. This
right,
isn't everybody's happy reel, on social media. This is like
yeah,
real deal. Um but I think that was one of the reasons that I wanted to write this book with Dr. Daniela so much, was that we all have those questions. We have those questions like, oh my gosh, my baby won't stop crying. What am I supposed to do? How can I
exactly.
soothe this? And the kiddo my kid's not looking me in the eye, or are they
Yep,
autistic? Like, or
yep,
what's going on with my kid? How can I help them during this situation? My kid, got burned on the stove. What do I do? And
right,
it's like those
right.
immediate, like, go-to questions that parents
Hmm.
have, that you don't want to always be calling the pediatrician. You don't want to always be, like, or like, I love my mama. My mom is on my speed dial.
Right, right, right.
But it's nice to have this book because then you
Yeah,
have that immediate, like, I have this question, I need it answered. I want it answered by an expert who really knows what they're doing, not just somebody that's like
exactly.
a keyboard warrior online
Hmm.
saying, oh, this is what you should do with your cat. So
Hmm.
it's got one of the top pediatricians in the world. I think that's pretty darn good. But what do you think?
I always think that, me being a kid, like having being a happy child is allowing the child to have an imagination,
Yes.
to be able to, get out there and explore, right? And to be able to feel their self around in the world. Like for me, being younger, it was always go outside and play. And then when we go outside and play, you're in the world, but you're really not, because you're playing with your peers and you're on the monkey bars. Everything is not good because the boy pushes you down or you fall or something like that, where you invoke all these emotions. But typically, you're pretty happy because the boy that pushed you down, you might find out that he likes you, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
so you okay, you okay with him pushing you down on the ground, right? Even though you
Yes,
didn't like
yes,
it, right? And
absolutely.
you just have that ability to be that kid and have that imagination and dream and to really see what the possibilities are without being burdened with the real lives of, I would say, what your parents are going through. Like
Yeah.
they tried, as a kid, they try to shield us as much as they could, right?
Mhm.
But we did see things, but the imagination is there, right?
Yeah.
And even if you have a child with special needs, or if you have a child, who has issues and everything, just allowing them to be who they are, I think is a part of that happiness.
Huge.
And allowing the parent to be comfortable with who your child is going to be or who your child is showing you they are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we definitely go into that in the book because there also is sort of this phenomenon where parents try to live their lives vicariously through their
Yes.
children, right? You're like,
Yes,
"Oh, I saw a light bulb go off." Oh, no.
yes, yes, yes.
And we don't want to do that. We want them to really truly, like you said, be who they are becoming. And that can change, that can
Yeah,
morph over time as they're growing up, and they're going to have different interests, and they're going to, explore those things. And we need to let children be free to
correct.
become who they truly are on the inside. And that's a beautiful thing when you see that with children. And it does show true happiness shining through when that happens.
Yeah, it's funny because, you have a kid who says, "Well, I want to be an artist, right? And I want to be a painter." And your parents is like, "Oh my God, what do we have?" Like that's you got to be
Yes.
able to have a future in that, right? Like I love art. It's like, oh my God, like I was looking for a doctor. I was looking for a lawyer, go get an education and have something better. And then it's like, well, I found something that I love that makes me happy, but you telling me I can't do that because I won't be able to survive in the world, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so it's like, again, finding that balance between the parent and child, I think is something that is important. And then just as a parent, just allowing, right? Just allowing. See, like you said, everything is going to change. I went from being a dancer to a singer to a doctor to a lawyer, right? To
Yes.
all this stuff and wound up being an entrepreneur. And everybody is like, what?
Yes. Yes. I'm on the same track and path. I get it. I mean, there's also room for being, a singing lawyer, so, I mean, why not? This
Yep.
is 2023. We can do whatever we want to do. And there's
That's
so much
right.
more opportunity for those type of things than there used to be. That you don't have to have this just one narrow path that we're walking down. And it was Picasso who said that all of us, when we were children, were artists. It is
Exactly.
just what happened to us when we grew up. And that we still have that creativity inside of us. I'm so sorry. My alarm's going off, Grace. I
Oh, no, it's fine.
apologize.
It's okay.
That is the one thing about being a multitasking mompreneur is that there's like, do you have
Oh,
alarms set all over the place? Like
yep.
constant alarms and beeps and whistles, and
Yep.
it's just the real deal, whether you're on a podcast or not.
So what can we expect from the book? So we have your side with education, and then we have the healthcare, the doctor side, right? When
Correct.
you mesh those things together, what are we getting?
You're getting the prescription for a happy and healthy child. It's all right in there. I have the whole education perspective. We are both mamas, so we both bring that to the table. We bring stories. We weave in stories throughout the book, and it's really, but it's focused on those practical strategies, things that you need, in a heartbeat. From whether it's a true emergency that you're dealing with, to
Yeah.
if you're taking kids on their first overseas vacation. So like there's
Mm,
all the different questions that come up for Dr. Daniela's patients, and they've all been questions that have swirled through my own head and my mom friends' heads, and
yeah,
people. We have, so there was no owner's manual that they handed us when we birthed these
exactly.
babies.
Exactly. 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 But
We
it's
all
close
wanted that
to it.
blueprint.
Yeah. It sounds like it's close to it though, because a lot of mothers struggle. And again, especially new moms, I see my friends and, some of my family members who are new moms and their kids are crying or they don't know how to belch them or
Yeah,
when they're small, you just don't know what's wrong with them. So you take them to the doctor and say, here, you know, the
right.
baby keeps doing
This.
this, right? I don't know what this is, right?
And
And you try
and
to get it all together.
absolutely, and another beautiful thing about it is that there's so many photographs throughout the book,
Oh
that
man, it's
sort of
awesome.
illustrate it, and we got those taken at Dr. Daniela's medical practice, demonstrating the right way to stop a nosebleed on a kiddo, and
Wow.
how to do the burping of the baby, and how to do all of these different things, and if you're looking at a rash, like what the heck is going on with my baby's leg, like why, what is this, what could this possibly be, and how could
Yeah.
I fix it, so there's just all these things that come up with parents, and especially new parents, and you don't need to be flying blind anymore. You can have the
Hmm.
prescription for a happy, healthy child, and have that as your guidebook to help you with those kiddos.
Wow. So how can we get the book to come? It comes out June 1st. And is it going to be on Amazon? Is it going to be on your website? How do we get it?
It's going to be all over. Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, Target, everywhere you can get a book.
Wow, that's
Yes, it'll
awesome.
definitely be on my website too, but Amazon is where we're sending everybody on June 1st on International Children's Day, so that we can hit that bestseller, so that we can get it spread out into the world. And speaking of getting it spread out into the world, we're also doing a huge fundraiser. I
Okay.
I run the Global Sisterhood,
Mm-hmm.
and we do a lot of work with women with our charity partnerships internationally. So we have a school for entrepreneurship in Tanzania, and we have um, 87,000 women that have been taught to read and write in Nepal through the programs that we have with Dr. Mina there. So we have all these pockets of women that are raising babies, and they have these questions. So we are going to be getting those books to
Books.
these women in homeless shelters here, and in
Amazing.
maternity wards in
Thank
Pakistan, and
you.
just everywhere, so that we have those. It's just such a
Oh,
blessing to be able to bring this to the world. It makes my heart
oh,
so happy.
yes, I am very excited about it, and however
Excellent.
we could support, we would want to because I think it's so
Thank you.
needed because the moms out there and I've seen them, especially every first and second and fourth Sunday. I volunteer with a couple of friends and we feed the homeless and we
God.
cook our own food. We cook our own food and we take it out there and we give them clothes and all this stuff. And it is just the way you see the homeless women with their children and
Yes.
and you talk to them. First of all, they know how to watch their diet. I did not know that, right?
Yeah.
They would say, I can't eat that because, right? Or I can't have that because. And in my mind, it's like, well, we're going to be able to give you, some nutrients, but they keep they diet balanced. And then
Hmm.
when you talk to them and you say, well, what is the most important thing that you want? And they say, just to be happy,
Yeah.
just to be
Yeah.
happy. And the happiness for them is just being with their family in a place where they can, not be wandering around and just, you know, be themselves. But they go
Yeah.
to school, they do everything, right?
Yeah.
And so, as the mom trying to get herself together, she wants to be able to allow her kids to be kids, but because of circumstances, she has to figure it out. But with a book like yours, depending on, the years, because these kids are young, they're like 6, 7 years old. Is it just babies, or is it up to a certain age as far as the
So
book?
the questions are based on zero, so pregnancy into 5 years old, but
Okay.
so many of them can be used on past that.
Okay. Gotcha.
A kid has a rash, a kid has a rash. Yeah, your kid has, like, these
Right.
different things that
Earache,
happen to
an
a kid.
earache is an
Right.
earache.
A
Yep.
kid falls on the playground from high up. All these things you're going to deal with any age child.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's a valuable tool for any parent
Okay.
to have on their nightstand, or wherever. We made it it's thick, but
Yeah.
it's the right size. You can throw it in a diaper bag, or you can throw it in a purse, so that you can have it
That's
with you
awesome.
on the
We-
go.
I can see the new mom book clubs with this, just to discuss,
Yes.
the little things that are happening with the children, because they're looking for new mom support groups trying to figure this thing out. Do you talk about postpartum depression and how to handle those things, once you have the baby? Because that's
We
important.
We do go into that a little bit, but really the questions were focused more on the child and how
Okay.
we interpret that. Dr. Daniela went through some really severe postpartum depression, and she talks to that from her own personal viewpoint. I have one of my children is on the autism spectrum, so I talk about that from a personal mom standpoint, and really what I went through with teaching him and raising him, and all the different things are really approached from both the perspective of those important questions about the kids, but then
Yeah.
we also layer in those things about being a mom, like
Correct.
real deal, authentic. This is what it
Mhm.
was like. This is what it was like, when I was trying to nurse and X, Y, and Z happened. And so we really get into the nitty gritty, but then also we have it as a setup so that you can just go there for like that quick answer that you need.
Okay. So June 1st, Amazon, and we're going to hit the bestsellers list, and then we're going to spread it out everywhere.
And
Barnes
then
and
it's go
Nobles, everywhere. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if they're looking for it, they can go to Amazon, or they can go to Peds for Kids. So that is Dr. Daniela's medical practice, and they're
Okay.
helping us to spread the good word around the
Okay.
world. So PEDS and then
Mhm.
for
Very good.
kids.com.
Okay, so we'll make sure we put that in the show notes and everything like that.
Excellent.
And Dr. Shellie, let us know how we can follow you, because you're right in our house of the expert of empowering women. So
Yay!
how can we
Excellent.
follow
Yeah,
you
just
and get involved with you?
ShellieHipsky.com. You can come
Okay.
find me at ShellieHipsky.com, and I get booked for speaking all over the world. I've been on 62 magazine covers. I do tons of
Everywhere.
media. I do coaching, and the coaching is sort of like my bread and butter. And one of my first loves is working one-on-one, or in my Empower You Master class with different women, and really finding out what their dreams and goals are, and finding ways to make it happen, set up an action plan and go for it. So yeah, I
Absolutely.
can be that for you, and I would love
Uh,
that.
Dr. Shelley, it was a pleasure. And I love what you guys are doing. I love that you are helping moms out there to, have just like a guidebook on not only how to have a happy child, but what to do in those situations where you don't know. Because, like you said, there is no guidebook to raising a child, but we're about to get pretty damn close, right?
You got it. You got
We're
it.
about to get pretty damn close where it will be something out there that the women can hang on to or the parents can hang on to so that, they can raise happy, healthy kids. And so I thank you and I thank the doctor, and we definitely going to get the word out, okay?
Awesome. Thank you. And if you want to join me, we actually have the Women of Impact and Innovation International are coming to Pittsburgh. Um,
Hmm.
August 25th to the 27th. And
Yep.
it's going to be an absolutely incredible, powerful, eventful summit. We've got everything from a mansion soiree that we're going to be doing and a summit day. And we're going to be doing women empowering women outreach program. So we're going to be working with domestic violence victims. So just going to be an amazing, powerful weekend. So I just wanted to throw that out there, just
Oh,
in case
yeah.
somebody wanted to join in.
I will see you there. I will
Yeah,
be there.
that's awesome.
I will be there. But thank you so much, Doctor. And most definitely, we'll get the word out. We'll put everything in the show notes, and we'll definitely be a champion for you on June 1st and beyond. I really do
Thank
appreciate you
you.
being here. All
Thank
right.
you.
And
It was a
I'll see
joy.
you in August. Absolutely.
Yay!
All
Woohoo!
right. You have a good night.
You too.
All right. Bye.